Well, hi, my name is Rodrigo. I'm from Mexico. I'm 26 years old. I'm an anthropologist. I work at the National Museum of Cultures, and I love Indonesia because there are a lot of things to see, a lot of things to smell, a lot of things to learn. I started knowing about this culture when I entered to the National Museum of Cultures here in Mexico, and there was this little space dedicated to Indonesia. So there was in the showcase some wayans and I loved it. So I started researching more about Indonesia because I had to explain people first how Indonesia is and then how wayang works. And then I wanted to show people how to play and handle some wayangs. So I made ones and I became making a wayang maker, if I can tell. And then I became a puppeteer and I'm still learning. And this got me every step more and more and more into Indonesian culture. And I found that is very colorful and very similar to my culture, and I like the patterns of the clothes and the colors and the figures, the dances. And then I read this book that was written by some Mexican anthropologist, and I totally loved what he was telling in this book. The first time I met Fitra, I was doing my job at the museum, telling people how wayang works and showing how to handle some wayangs, making some little sketch with the children. So then my boss came to me and told me, hey, there's an Indonesian puppeteer who saw your work and saw the wayangs you made, and he totally loved them. And I was like, oh my God, an Indonesian puppeteer was watching my job and he likes it and he wants to talk to me. I was very nervous because I felt that I was not doing the right job, that he was going to tell me that it is not good. And then came Fitra, he presented himself and told me that I was doing a great thing. And I was like, oh, feeling very good. Then he invited to know his work in Indra Swara. And here I am, and there was like two years ago, and here I still am.
And how about his personality?
He's very kind, and I like it. He's very soft, he's very gentle, but when he has to be hard, when he's teaching you, he needs to be rough. He is, but the most thing I love of him is this quality of being kind and being hard at the same time. Because I feel like people to be pushing me to work, and Fitra does it, but it is not like he is this meaning. And I like his personality because of he's so gentle. Both of them, because I started making this wayang for the museum to show children how they work and how they play. And this is why this is so little, because children can handle them. And then when the project became bigger, then I made these black ones. This is Cinta, and there are some 4 more characters in black ones puppets. And in this one with color that are so little are just 2, but the main intention was just to show people how they work, how they play. And this one was for a special exhibition showing a lot of wayangs that we have there in the museum. And then I met Indra Swara, and I loved the project and I liked it. They invited me to came here and work with these puppets of mine that I made, and I feel so proud of it. And well, I liked it.
How many wayangs you have produced for Indra Swara?
There are more or less like nine, nine in black, and another in cardboard, like 4 or 5, but they are not showing here.
So tell me about the first time you see wayang.
Okay.
How is it like?
Because I started working at National Museum of Cultures, that here in Mexico is dedicated to show people how rich are cultures in the world. So when I came to the Pacific cultures, I saw these wayangs on the showcase and I fell in love with them. And then I started researching and I knew how they worked and how they played and how they look, and I fell in love with them. I wanted to show people, to show children how they work, how they play, how they really look, how they really...
Could you tell me about the first time you knew wayang and how was your impression?
Sure, because I started working at National Museum of Cultures at 2012, and there was this room dedicated to show people Pacific cultures, and there was a little section of Indonesia and a showcase showing some wayang, two wayang kuliks and 2 wayang kulit, and I loved them since first sight. And then I started researching. I saw some videos on YouTube and I read some books, and then I knew how they worked and how they play and how they really look, and I fell in love with it. Then there comes this exhibition who's dedicated to show to the people of Mexico some of our collection of wayangs, and I saw how rich are the diversity of all of them, and I really liked it. So I started making my own wayangs to show people and show children how it's handled. So made this little one, and when I saw that it is very difficult to make one of these, I realized how it is complex and important to people, to Indonesian culture. So they connected to my heart immediately.
How did you learn how to draw and how to make wayang?
Okay. At the National Museum of Cultures, there are some library who's special on cultures of the world. So they had some videos. And in this library, I saw a documentary about how people in Indonesia made wayangs. So I watched the whole process, and the ones that I did here, that I made, are not the same technique that you use in Indonesia, because they are made of wood. And I started drawing because I was young, like 50 years ago, when I was 11. I am 26 now. So I have this time drawing, and I knew that I could do some wayangs, that I could draw some of them, and I started doing it just by watching them.
So you learn by yourself.
Yep, yeah. I learned
So
by
how
myself.
is your contribution to Indra Swara? What's your role and what do you do?
Okay, I started with handle some wayangs, some puppets, and then they invited me to be the puppeteer. So it was very amazing for me because I like it so much, and I was like very proud and very excited, and was making these wayangs for Indra Swara, and started handling the puppets and the wayangs, and that was my first role in here. Now I'm like, I can help with this and I can help with that, and I started playing music too. So I try to be really involved with it.
So do you have plans, like maybe to go to Indonesia to learn more about wayang or other Indonesian culture?
Of course, I want to know more and get more dedicated to wayang, because as I told you before, when I knew them, I fell in love with them. So I think they're not going away from me much time.
So you will love it for a long time.
I guess so, I think so, I hope so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you too.